gentlemen, if I could have your attention just for a moment, please. I'd just like to let the ones that are in the back of the chapel know we do have some seating here in the front of the chapel. It isn't reserved for family. This side is only reserved for family. So if anyone would like to come forward and take a seat, they can do so. As well as once we have the family escorted into the chapel, we'll have some overflow rooms for people to sit and be able to watch the service electronically. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. David Miracle. I'm the lead pastor at Watershed Church. It's my privilege to welcome you here today on this sad occasion. I'm very sorry that we have to gather in this way. I can think of a lot more fun ways to get together, right? But we are here today for a great guy. It's been said that you are known by your friends, right? Obviously, Paul Allen had a lot of friends. And welcome to the new chapel here at the Dominion Mission Park. It's the newest chapel that's been opened. I'm sorry that we're having to have one of the first services for you guys, but glad that we can accommodate in this way. My background in education is actually in counseling, and so funeral homes all across the city called upon me to help with funeral services. I'm glad to get to be here with you today and to help you through this situation. But I also offer free counseling to anyone who needs it. Sometimes these situations bring out the heart in us and we need to talk to someone or be helped in some way. And so my card's available to you if you'd like that. So we want to remember today Mr. Paul Gregory Allen, and he was born in October. Was born, I love it that it said the old Biloxi Hospital in Biloxi, Mississippi, right? You gotta like qualify which one, right? But he was born on October the 10th, 1959, and of course his parents have preceded him. And unfortunately, he's passed away at a very, very young age of 65. Let me ask a question, and I don't want to be too humorous, but anybody remember when 40 was super old? Right? 65 is not old anymore, is it? Not at all. And so very sorry, Sylvia, girls, ladies, grandchildren. So sorry for the loss that you've experienced and what you're going through today. For all of you family, extended family, friends, co-workers, home builders, real estate agents, others that are here that have been connected through and with Paul in one way or another, we know that you're also grieving today. But would we just take a moment and have a moment here of just a little bit of silence and reflect for a moment to think about this family and their concern today. Would you join me in that silence for a moment? God, you know that we've come here today to remember a great guy. Unfortunately, he has passed. Sometimes we ask ourselves these questions of why. And yet, here we are. Today, I ask Lord on behalf of the ministry that I'm a part of, and certainly Mission Park Funeral Homes, all those that are involved in this process. I pray, Lord, that you would give this family a tremendous amount of comfort, that you would guide them through this process today, that they would hear great stories, that we would laugh together, that we would encourage each other through this event. Yet, Lord, I pray we also would continue to be mindful of the tremendous gaping hole that's been left in this family, of a husband, a father, a father-in-law, a grandfather. Today, Lord, I just pray that you would be with them, restore their hope and their joy, strengthen them as they learn how to move forward. And I say learn because we all know that it is a process. And I pray that as they take each and every next step, that they would be reminded that the Spirit of Paul Allen is with them. In your name we pray these things. Amen. So we have several speakers today. You're going to get to hear a lot of different comments and stories from a lot of different people. And so I'm going to be kind of emceeing, if you will, as we move through. And so I have the order of service in front of me. And we first have Michelle and Pat, Michelle Snyder and Pat Scully, who will be coming. And then after that, Janice Gonzalez and Jenny Briggs. And so we'll want to hear from all of them. So if you would go ahead and make your way. As they're making their way, let me tell you something. I'm sure I didn't have the privilege of knowing Paul firsthand, although I had heard about him because I flip houses and do some of that kind of stuff as I know. And I know just from reading the obituary alone that he was a tremendous guy and really genuinely loved his wife, Sylvia. And back there is a great photo, if you haven't seen it, of them dancing. Wow, right? Right out of a romantic movie or something, right? He loved his children. He loved his children. He loved his grandchildren as well. And so, let's remember them today. I have 3 daughters myself, so I'm kind of feeling this. I have 9 grandchildren. I tell everybody, if I could have figured out how to have grandchildren first, that's the way I would have done it, right? Because they're amazing people. So I'm sure Paul loved his as well. And so let's remember them today. So if we could hear from Michelle first, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. If you're here celebrating my father's life, you're probably very interesting. Because my father humbly surrounded himself with very interesting people. Many of you know that he started into his career with nothing. And he worked harder than anyone that I know for decades, despite incredible setbacks. He persevered. He did that so that we could live this beautiful life. And he did that because he loved it. And a matter of fact, he loved a lot of things. A sunset was not just a sunset, it was the most beautiful sunset he's ever seen. And if Sylvia made chicken, it was the best chicken he's ever had, every single time she made it. As a father, he made my sister Isabel and I feel so special and loved. And that was his gift. He took you to a place of imagination, planning trips and adventures, and any piece of paper or napkin lying around was filled with maps of places he wanted to go. At one point, this imaginary life that he wanted turned into a reality with the help of his beautiful wife, Sylvia. And this happiness made all of his dreams come true. I don't want to leave this imaginary world that he created for us. I want to continue to talk about pirates and sailboats and adventures. So this is my promise, and I hope it's you all's promise as well, to not just remember my father as the incredible man that he was, but to live our lives like he did, appreciating everything, possibly following Dave Ramsey. It's up to y'all. But fulfilling our wildest imaginations. Thank you.
As Pat makes her way up. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing. I am a preferred coach for Dave Ramsey's organization, so would it not shameless plug? Did you meet somebody to talk to? Okay.
Michelle, I give you incredible credit for you to be able to do all that without the help of notes and some reference to material. I don't know. I'm not that skilled, so bear with me. Well, Paul and I have teachers in the family, and so I felt like it would be helpful to bring some visual aids, which I did. I think it probably runs in both of our families pretty strongly. True confession, I'm a baby. I'm not just a baby, I'm a big baby. What I mean by that is, it has been said that I will cry during a toothpaste commercial. And sadly, that's not wrong. I do. So when Sylvia approached me about coming up to talk to Paul, about Paul, I was a little conflicted. On the one hand, obviously, this is a guy who deserves to be talked about. But the question is, am I the best messenger for the job? Over time, I have seen tributes and testimonials done, internet and other places, that were upbeat, they were joyous, they were lighthearted. I come from a Catholic background, and if that's the case, you may remember that rituals are somewhat solemn for a lot of us. So when I saw these lighthearted approaches to the testimonials, I didn't know quite what to think. And at first I thought it was a little inappropriate. But over time, I kind of came to see, you know what, I think these people actually are doing it right. The celebration of life is important too. It is true that you can have sorrow and joy at the same time. And there's no better evidence of that than the period of time that we went through all our photos to look at pictures that would be displayed up in the wall. And we went through periods of tears and laughter and tears and laughter. And that was where we find ourselves today. There's a saying, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. It says, don't just cry because it's over. Smile too because it happened. And it's that spirit that I decided to come up and say a few words. It is hard, it's not hard, it's impossible to put one man's life and characterize in just one word. But there is one word that came to my mind immediately when I thought of Paul. And the word is class. C-L-A-S-S, class. When I looked it up in the dictionary, it said class is of high quality and elegance. And my thought was, yeah, that's Paul. Quality and elegance. If you look up the traits of a high quality individual, honesty, integrity, loyalty, respect, kindness, responsibility, resilience, open-mindedness, courage, humility. Check, check, check. That was Paul in spades. So, since we can't just limit it to just one word, I thought I would drill down one layer deeper. And I wanted to come up with a word, for me, in my association, my dealings with Paul, that sort of symbolized each of the letters of the word class, the letter C. For me, the first thing that popped into my mind was curious. What a curious individual Paul was. He found marvel and beauty in everything that he saw. We're going to go back a ways, but I remember the jellyfish back in the original, one of the original offices that Paul had. Paul found jellyfish curious, interesting, cool, so much that he wanted to buy one and put it in his aquarium at his office. And if you were lucky enough to go into the office, you would be marched over, before you left, over to the aquarium to see the jellyfish that Paul thought was just the neatest, coolest thing ever. But that's just so quintessential Paul. That's just the kind of quirky, curious mind that he had. But it wasn't just sea life, it was individuals. Whether you are the wealthiest homeowner or the newest subcontractor on the job, Paul was going to search you out spend time with you, talk to you, find out who you are, what you did, how long you've been on the job, on and on. Because Paul had a vested interest in each individual, regardless of station. It's so impressive. We would dine often with Paul and Sylvia, and I took it upon myself almost as a contest to see if I could beat the waiter to finding out what his first name is before Paul did. Because Paul was one of those people that wanted to know what your name is, how long you worked there, where did you work before, where's your family from. That was Paul. That wasn't Paul putting on airs or being artificial. That's just who Paul was. Moving on to L, first thing in my mind that jumped in was likable. Paul was eminently likable. In 2015, when we first became good friends, living in an apartment just down the street, actually, Paul and Sylvia and I, we actually lived in apartments that were bordered on an open courtyard. So you could open up the door, walk through the courtyard of one apartment and walk through the courtyard and arrive at our particular apartment. Probably 30, 40 feet separated us in that living arrangement. In fact, we were so close that Freckles, Paul and Sylvia's dog, could bolt out of their door and land on our front steps with his little paws only hitting the ground 3 times. I used to think, I flattered myself thinking that Freckles loved seeing me, but I realized really he just had a crush on our golden retrievers, not me at all. But we had a symbiotic relationship, Paul and I did. I like to cook, Paul liked to eat. And we also like to drink wine, sometimes lots of wine. On one of the very first nights that we spent time together back in 2015, Kelly and I woke up the next morning and found Paul's keys, his glasses, and a broken wine glass on our front patio. And I realized at that time, this is a guy we're going to get along with really well. I like Paul very much. That was my first introduction. We've been fast friends ever since. But everybody likes Paul. Glenn, Paul's brother, and I were talking about this a couple days ago, and each of us came to agree that the reason Paul had such success in business was due in large part because he was just such a likable guy. People wanted to spend time with him, they wanted to be with him, they trusted him, and he became their home builder. And once again, that's not Paul being artificial or phony. That's just who Paul was. Michelle, you saw my thunder on this one. I got accomplished. Paul was an incredibly accomplished individual. He grew up in a small town in Mississippi, which you already know. Very modest means. He used to talk about going to go fishing with chicken necks. I'm not making it up. That's a story that he regaled us on many, many occasions. Fishing with chicken necks. He was proud of it. He couldn't be more proud of it. Sharing the story of his modest upbringing and his life growing up in Mississippi. And he started there and became one of the premier home builders in San Antonio. What a story. Rags to riches, true success story. If you go look at one of his model homes, there's more awards than any one room can contain. He's got a list of satisfied, glowing testimonials that's a mile long. And the favorite part of this last part of this little story is how thrilled Paul would be to tell me about a prior homeowner who returned to him years later and asked to build another house. And he thought that was the best compliment that he could ever and you have to agree. Once again, not artificial, that's just who Paul was. Letter S. Now, I would just ask that you don't judge me until I get a little further along in this explanation, because this one's a little funny. The word is, believe it or not, the first word that came to mind is sponge. It's odd. But if you wait and think about it, what I mean is Paul soaked in all the life around him. He couldn't absorb enough of what was going on. We had a difference of opinion, but when we would travel to a home builder show, he insisted on being there on minute one, day one, because he did not want to miss a single moment of the activity. He had to have it all. Travel. Have you seen any of these pictures up here? Voracious appetite when it came to travel. Nobody could keep up with Paul. I have often said that Paul did more in a month than I did in 3 years. It's embarrassing. But Paul just could not get enough. The experiences, the travel, the people, he wanted to soak it all in and loved every second of it. When we attended a lot of different functions together, and typically the conversation would go something like this. Hey, Pat, Chris Bodie, we're going to his concert. He's coming to San Antonio. Do you want to go with me? Hey, Pat, Andrew Bocelli is doing a concert in Madison Square Garden. You want to go? Hey, Pat, I'm going to sail my catamaran around the BVI's. Why don't you guys come? Hey, Pat, Teddy Swims is going to play in Houston. Why don't you guys come with? Anything and everything that was out there and available, if Paul could get at it, he would go after it. Last little bit, Paul and Sylvia just came back from Turkey. I remember before he left, I asked him, Paul, Turkey, of all the places, Turkey? When he came back, he told me that was the best trip he's ever been on. He loved every second of it. He can't wait to go back. And that revealed to me two things. One about Paul and one about me. One, Paul will tackle any obstacle in front of him, give him the opportunity to enjoy a trip, and he will take it. And about me, how sad. I was sort of questioning whether or not Turkey was a viable destination point, and due to my own ignorance, and what did I find out? It's actually one of the best, finest trips he ever went on. Paul, always the instructor, always teaching. Thank you, brother. And none of this was Paul, once again, trying to be better than anybody else. This is just who Paul was. The last one, and no discussion of Paul could be left without this one, is sailor. Paul was a seaman and a sailor. The pictures up here, if you spend any time watching them, you'll see it's a heavy dose of his life. Really, he had no choice about being a lover of the sea. It's in his DNA, I believe, because at a very young age, his mother and father sailed a sailboat around the world. You've seen a couple pictures sort of referencing that already. An amazing story. And if I were you guys, if you get a chance to talk to any family member about his mom and dad, it's an incredible story. His brother Glenn, a yacht captain, recently retired, but spent his life at sea. Paul himself, captained 50-foot plus catamaran around the BVI's for years and years. Paul and Sylvia had homes on the Texas coast, on the Florida coast, along with Paul's boats, because he had to be on the water. And I've always felt, in listening to Paul tell the story about all these things, the sea was like oxygen for Paul. He just breathed it, he loved it. It was just part of who he was. Another just little funny aside is, while we were going through gathering pictures for this event, I still came across probably a half dozen pictures of boats that Paul had sent me as potential future purchases that he was interested in. I still got them. He just had to share them, because that's just who Paul was. So, to sum it all up, Paul was a class act. He's a loving, warm, funny, thoughtful husband, father. He was a kind, generous, supportive, trustworthy friend, and made us all better because of our association with him. He was a successful and accomplished businessman who soaked up life in every single area he could find. So, if you know Paul already, you're already familiar with a lot of these things that have been said to you today. If not, then at least you know, from my perspective at least, just who Paul was. So I thank everyone for the opportunity to talk about Paul today, and I ask that God blesses and heals the hearts of all Paul Allen friends and friends.
Thank you, Pat. And now we're going to hear from Janice and Jenny.
When I was first asked last week to speak at Paul's funeral, I initially declined because I didn't think I could get through it. But how could I not? It's Paul. Paul and his family have been a part of my family and me of theirs for years. I feel honored to be here today and blessed to have been a part of the Paul Allen team for 14 years. When I started working for Paul, we shared a desk in a mobile home in Beaver Springs. There were 4 of us. Me, Paul, Sylvia, Coy, and 2 dogs, Alfred and Nelson. Over the years, both the size of our homes and the size of our team have grown. Paul was immensely proud of his team and all of their accomplishments, and us of his. He and Sylvia poured their hearts and souls into this company, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Past week has been tragic and heartbreaking. It reminds us all how precious life is and the importance of living it to its fullest. Paul loved to work hard and play hard or harder. No one can replace him. He was special. His success and legacy will continue through this group of loving, talented, and passionate people that we call Paul Allen homes. Paul, we love you and we will miss you. And as Paul often reminded me during life's struggles, that this is only a chapter. Thank you.
Hi, we're some of the women of Paul Allen Homes, and we get the honor to speak about the ultimate feminist, Paul Allen. Before modern day conventions made it stylish, Paul was the quintessential girl dad. He raised 2 brilliant women, both college educated, with stellar careers. And you may not know this about Paul, but he was partial to bilingual women. If you know that story, you're laughing now. And if you don't, let us share it with you. 30 years ago, a young woman answered the call for a bilingual receptionist at a home builder's office. She was hired on the spot. When Paul overheard his new hire Sylvia struggling to talk to a contractor on the phone, he asked her why she didn't speak Spanish to the men. "I'm German," she replied. "I speak German." Paul slowly left the office saying, "Oh." Paul got his Spanish speakers eventually, as Michelle is fluent as her two girls who started speaking Spanish in kindergarten. I sometimes wonder if Paul got his hopes up again when he hired me as a new accountant and felt that he had deja vu when I admitted I didn't speak any Spanish, when I obviously should.
Before it was cool, before it was a social movement, Paul Allen was a champion of women in construction. In the early 90s, Paul gave his interior designer a pair of boots, got her out of the showrooms and into the field, where she started running jobs. He made her believe that she was a force to be reckoned with, and because he said it, she believed it. Many professional women speak of having to be more prepared, more knowledgeable, and more experienced than anyone in the room to gain credibility. That was just not the case with Paul. We had instant credibility. He believed that women were superhuman, and he put us front and center. With big deals in the balance, not out of charity, but because he knew we were competent. He knew we could turn relationships into contracts, and we are still doing that, and we will continue to do that. Our families were not burdens or liabilities that could distract us from our work. In fact, Paul considered our families to be extensions of his own. One of the first meetings I had with Paul, when we were onboarding together, he insisted that my babies come along as well. If Paul had something on his mind, you would know, because he'd ask you about it. He wanted your opinion and listened thoughtfully when you responded. No matter what your role was or your station, Paul valued the insights of everyone around him. He was a lifelong learner, and he valued curiosity and creativity. He always made time to entertain our crazy ideas and our endless questions. He always reminded us that this is what made our organization special. We stay humble, we keep learning, keep asking questions, and be brave enough to throw, the crazy ideas on the table. We're all a little weird here, he'd say. He was a big thinker and believed that success was an admirable goal and that we should all be successful. Nothing was more profane to Paul than staying small or staying hidden in work and in our personal lives. If something good happened to any of us, something good happened to all of us. American author James Baldwin wrote, "The longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's life. We cannot make sense of this loss, nor can we digest it by turning it into a lesson. What the women of Paul Allen Homes will do is to continue to use our voices, ask the questions, come up with the crazy ideas, pursue success, encourage, create, and nurture, as if he were here with us."
Now we're going to take a short break from the speaking and give you a chance to reflect on what's been said. We're going to hear a song by Lady Gaga named "I'll Never Love Again."
Wish I could say goodbye. I'm gonna say if I knew it would be the last time I would put my heart into try to say, are you gonna be touch? Gonna start a fire? Gonna know kiss? Gonna make fun of my lips? Gonna give my heart away to a stranger? Won't you let the sunlight in? When we first met, I never thought that I would fall. I never thought that I'd find myself lying in your arms. And I wanna pretend that it's not true. Oh, baby, that you're gone. 'Cause my world keeps turning, turning, turning. Oh, no more. Don't wanna be another touch. Don't wanna start another fire. Don't wanna know another kiss. Don't wanna think falling off my lips. Don't wanna give my heart away to another stranger. Oh, let another day begin. Won't be like the sunlight. No I wanna know this feeling. Yes, it's you and me. I don't wanna waste no more. And I don't wanna give somebody else the better part of me. I would rather wait for you. Don't wanna feel the time. Don't wanna start a fire. Don't wanna know another kiss. Baby, I wanna stay on your lips. Don't wanna give my heart away to another stranger. Only another day begin. Won't even let the sunlight
Absolutely beautiful voice, right? Incredible song. So we have two other folks that are going to come and speak now, John Jones and Kelly Rigsby. So if they would both make their way, it would be great.
Hi, my name is John Jones. I'm Paul Allen's son-in-law. Some of you I've never met, but I feel like I know you more. I feel like I know everyone here a little bit more than I should. And what I mean by that, that's because Paul was a storyteller. Whether he was recounting his days working on a shrimp boat, discussing a promising venture or business venture, or sharing every or sharing every adventure he had with Sylvia. Paul loved to fill every moment with stories, each one woven with people he cherished most. He was so intentional in everything he did, filling his life with nothing less than perfection. The last story Paul shared with me was about his efforts to buy the lot across from the new house he and Sylvia were building. And he didn't want the lot for profit. He wanted it so that every day he could look as he stepped out from his house and he could see Paul Allen's house standing across the street. He said, "Control your world. Let's be like Paul. Control your world. Fill it with people you love. Share your stories and make it make your life as perfect as it can be." Thank you.
Kelly?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelly Rigsby, and I had the privilege of being Paul's builder sales representative at Ferguson Home for many years. I was truly honored when Sylvia asked me to speak on behalf of the industry partners who had the pleasure of working alongside Paul and his team at Paul Allen Homes. I vividly remember meeting Paul and Sylvia 20 years ago when I started my career in the building industry. He was the first builder I reached out to. He was kind, he was patient, and he made me feel valued. He understood the significance of partnerships with his trade professionals. Beyond being a colleague, Paul was a friend. A mentor and a steady source of light, of warmth to many of us. Over the years, we have witnessed his passion and vision for creating exceptional lifestyles. He was a true visionary with an extraordinary talent for effortlessly transforming people's dreams into a reality. As I share my thoughts and memories, I hope to convey the profound impact that he had on our lives in the industry we all hold dear. One of my fondest memories is when Ferguson Home awarded me a trip, allowing me to invite a builder and their spouse to the Bahamas. Without hesitation, I chose Paul and Sylvia, not just to express my gratitude for their loyalty and partnership, but because I truly cherish their friendship. Paul had a unique ability curating unforgettable experiences for others, and he truly elevated that during our time in the Bahamas. Knowing his passion for boating adventures and his desire to share the joy, he reached out to his brother Glenn, who had a fleet of yachts. As luck would have it, one was docked in Nassau. Paul orchestrated a breathtaking afternoon for us to board the magnificent Harley yacht. The time we spent on that yacht was nothing short of perfect. With a gentle breeze in our hair, the sun casting its warm glow over the ocean, and the sound of our laughter harmonizing with the waves. It was a day I will never forget. Just when I thought the day couldn't get better, Paul invited us to dine at the world-renowned Nobu restaurant, a place known for unforgettable culinary experiences. As we all know, the kitchen is often regarded as the heart of the home, but when it came to this professional kitchen, it was not just the heart, but the entire nervous system of this restaurant, a place thriving with creativity, precision, and speed. I remember thinking to myself while I sat there in wonder, Paul builds homes much like the way Nobu served the connoisseurs. Those moments were a testament to his love for adventure and his ability to create lasting memories with those he cared about. Paul's commitment to quality, innovation, and community uplifted everyone around him. He taught us the importance of dedication and integrity in our work, and his vision inspired us to reach greater heights. Over the last 40 years, Paul built more than just homes. He built an exceptional team at Paul Allen Homes, and that will carry his legacy with the same passion, vision, and commitment for generations to come. As I reflect on the final day of Paul's life, I am filled with gratitude for the moments we shared at Paul and Sylvia's future home in Huntington. It was a Tuesday morning, and the team of experts gathered around the table where he meticulously laid out the plans on the back porch. He thoughtfully set up a chair for an expecting mother within our team, a small gesture that spoke of his caring spirit. Next to her, he displayed a rendering of the vision of their future home, a tangible glimpse into the future. Soft jazz played in the background on a speaker that he placed there, creating an ambiance that was both relaxing and inspiring. A gentle breeze swept through, bringing with it a sense of peace, and set the tone for our collaboration as we discussed the lighting design for their beautiful home. This memory will forever be etched in my mind. Afterwards, I invited Paul, Sylvia, and John to join us for lunch. Little did I know it would be our last meal together, where Paul would savor his final Modelo and share his dreams of their future. He began with this familiar smirk that signaled he was about to say something teasingly affectionate to Sylvia. He reminisced about his travels around the world, but truly captivated us with his dream of moving to Florida with Sylvia. He envisioned steering his boat along the stunning South Florida coastline, a place where he had discovered the clearest blue-green water and vibrant reef, offering a promise of incredible snorkeling and fishing. It was a beautiful dream he shared with us. Paul's passion for life was infectious, and he embraced every moment with enthusiasm, reminding us to live fully and wholeheartedly. He showed us how to love our families fiercely. He was a loving father, nurturing Michelle and Isabel with a dedication that shaped them into remarkable women. As a grandfather, he embraced the role with an infectious joy and a playful spirit. Paul's love for Sylvia was a beautiful testament to his unwavering devotion that was evident in every glance and gesture. The way he looked at her, the way he supported her, and the way he made her laugh were all reflections of a deep love. Together, they created a partnership that inspired those around them, demonstrating what it truly means to love and support one another through life's journey. May we honor Paul by cherishing the memories we have and by supporting one another as he would have wanted. As we say goodbye, let us remember his steadfast spirit and the love he shared with all of us. He exemplified the phrase, "Steady as she goes," navigating through life with grace and determination. Thank you, Paul, for everything. You will be deeply missed but never forgotten.
So as we continue to reflect, let's listen to singer-songwriter James Blunt's song, Goodbye, My Love.
Feeling it, the judges were
a long time, you've made a lot of friends and have a lot of family. There's a lot of people to talk about you and a lot of great things to say. I'm just curious, Sylvia, did you pick out these songs? You did? Okay. I didn't know if you did it or Paul did it way before, because it could have gone either way. You guys really do love each other. It's very evident. They're great songs for you to pick. So we're going to hear from Glenn Allen and then from Chris as well.
Wow, am I a lucky man. I had a best brother. He's the best man I've ever known. And I'm also lucky to have two wonderful sisters to help us through all this. I know how sad everybody is today, because I am. But I'm going to leave that sadness behind tomorrow. I'm going to get it out today, and I'm going to celebrate God's life. Paul and I went in very different directions. When we were little kids, he'd be standing on the seawall fishing, and I'd be sailing down the channel throwing rocks at him. And he'd throw a fish or two back. We learned from each other over the years. We didn't always like each other, just like siblings do. We had our times. But in the last 20 years, he became the best friend that I've ever had. And damn, I'm missing him already. We bonded like no other brothers that I know of. And we shared each other's victories, and we shared each other's defeats. There's so many times I'd be sitting somewhere in the evening having a glass of wine, and he would be in his car driving home from work. And we would discuss everything under the sun. And Sylvia told me yesterday that sometimes he would just sit in the garage and finish his conversation. And that's one of the things I'm going to miss the most, the communication with him and the dedication of life. He wants everybody to be happy. He wants everybody to get along. He was such a diplomat, such a loving man. He will not be replaced. All of you, a lot of you know him as Paul the Builder, but Paul was not a builder. Paul did not build houses. Paul built relationships. And this crowd right here probably knows that. Thank you all for supporting our family. We have a wonderful family. We're going to stick together. We're going to take good care of Sylvia as best we can. She's a wonderful lady, and I love her. It's just so wonderful to have such a wonderful family, and Paul was a big part of building that family. Thank you, too. We've been through a lot together, and we're going to do this. Thank you, everybody. Be happy. He wants you to be happy.
Chris Susie, and then after that we have Jeff Lloyd and Keith Norman. Y'all would make your way.
When Michelle called and asked if I wanted to speak, I knew it was something I had to do. And I didn't realize how difficult it would become. I prepared several sets of remarks, many sets of remarks, and they were all in the trash at home. None of them said anything you don't already know, or that was beautifully written, as the obituary we've all read, which captured Paul as a person so perfectly. I had just created more words at a time when the grief is overwhelming, especially for Sylvia, for Michelle and Isabel, the grandchildren, his brother Glenn, his sisters, his sons-in-laws, and all the people that loved him so much. It's difficult even to process words, much less make them meaningful. At 6 o'clock this morning, I was kind of at the end of my rope thinking, I don't know if I can do this. And I looked up and I said, Paul, what do you want me to say? What should we have learned from you while you were here? And things began to clear up a bit. And it occurred to me that we who are left behind are really Paul's legacy. Paul left another legacy with his fabulous homes. I've been blessed to live in 2 of them, as did my parents. But we are the people he touched, he taught, and he loved. He left us everything we need to go on. He touched our lives in positive ways and set an example for us of how to live a truly good and be a decent human being. I started to think about what that means, and what I learned from my extraordinary friend. And I will share 5 of them with you. First is to do better. You can always do better. Keep reaching and learning. Don't give up. Just find a way to make things happen. And Paul was a master of that. He made things happen, and they were good things. And 2 was love more. Tell those close to you you know how much they mean to you. Stay in touch. Make people feel good about themselves. And he did that so well. Be positive. This week was a horrible reminder to us all that there may not be a tomorrow, so we need to do it today. The 3rd one is be kind, and that is the first thing I think of when I think of Paul. He means so much to so many people, and I think that was maybe his greatest quality. I will tell you one personal story from my life. I met Paul in 1985. We were friends for 40 years. It hardly seems possible. And during that time, he was a kid, basically. We had a business relationship which grew into a friendship, a warm, loving friendship. And after I had known him for a little bit, I heard my mother say that she and my dad wanted to build another house. And I said, have I got the guy for you? I said he's very young, and he was, but he's very talented and the most honest person I've ever met. Well, they met him, they loved him, and over time, he became a son to them and a brother to me. He was the good kid, so he took a lot of heat off me sometimes, and I really appreciate that. But he grew to love them also, He built 2 houses for them. We celebrated holidays together, and he truly was family. He, after my mother passed away, he and Sylvia went to Italy, and they invited us over, and he poured a glass of champagne for each of us and passed it around. And on the champagne flute he had given me was my mother's name engraved in it. And he said he did that so he could always remember how elegant she was. That touched me maybe more than anything anyone's ever done for me. And that was Paul. We'll never know the extent of his kindness or generosity, small things and very big things. He did it quietly and with humility, and I have never known anyone like Paul. The next thing that is a Paul quality is to deal honestly with people always. It will simplify your own life in the long run and gain you respect and credibility, but it's the right thing to do. And Paul always did the right thing. And the last thing is the one dearest to me, laugh. The thing I'll remember most about Paul personally was his quiet laugh and the twinkle that he got when something was really funny. He was so calm. I don't think a lot of people realize that he really had a great sense of humor. And that, I think, of all the qualities, was the one I loved most. So I would encourage you all tonight to come up with your top 5. The things Paul gave us, the qualities he had that should guide our lives and earn the respect that Paul earned in his life. When you say a life well lived, that doesn't begin to cover it. So, my dear friend, well done, and we all love you. Thank you.
Jeff and Keith.
I looked at the meaning of mariner, a person who navigates or assists in navigating a ship. The perspective of a mariner must consider the complexities of balancing the perils and the powers of the sea, while not forgetting to appreciate the beauty that exists all around. A mariner must consider the strengths and weaknesses of his crew, focusing on teamwork and adaptability. With this in mind, it is clear that Paul navigated life as a gifted mariner, perpetually at the helm, making sure those around him were safe, successful, and taken care of. Family, friends, colleagues, trade partners, and clients all benefited from Paul's leadership, generosity, kindness, and vision. In the time I've known Paul, we have traveled, celebrated, laughed, argued, talked, planned, worked, drank a little bit, confided, played, dreamed, and shared. Paul often said, if we do the right thing and treat people well, we will always have work. I had the opportunity to watch Paul snorkel when we went to the BVI's. It was like watching a little 12-year-old boy diving down to the bottom of the ocean to bring some amazing object to the surface to share with us, then making sure to return it to the sea where it belonged. A lesson that beauty isn't ours to keep, but simply to observe. Paul was more than a mariner to me. He was a storyteller, a mentor. No. Well, my friend, thank you for all that you had taught me, Paul. Fair winds and following seas, Paul. May your rest peacefully beyond the stars.
Chiggers. Thank you, Paul, for introducing me to chiggers. Chiggers are small red bugs or mites that breed in the long prairie black grasses. Their itch is 5 times that of an ant bite. The last time I saw Paul, we walked several lots together, and the last lot that we walked was a lot. Paul always warned of chiggers. He always warned me to spray down the bug spray before we walked. Now, I always denied him. I said, dude, you're going way too overboard. It's fine. But this time I got eaten up by the chiggers. And I can hear them right now. My name is Keith Norman. I'm Paul and Jeff's partner in Paul on Homes. And I met Paul more than a decade ago. What I remember is he was so amazing and so admired by everybody I knew, friends and foes alike. Kind of like a living legend. And this guy wants me to be on his team to help him sell houses and become a future partner someday. And I thought, wow. In the beginning years of Paul and Homes, it was just Paul and his wife Sylvia and a select others. But over the years, Paul built this dynamic team built with industry veterans. We were all like-minded and had some version of the same spirit that Paul had. And I think it was a super team. We just loved seeing Paul every single day. We were so dynamic and amazing because Paul always lifted everybody up. He encouraged us to be who we are, to use our own imaginations and unique talents and hearts to do the right thing on our terms. We all worked with each other and never for each other. Paul wanted to take care of our homeowners no matter what. That was his passion, and that's what we did. And that's what we'll continue to do. Those who don't know should know that Paul on Homes has built 32 houses twice for homeowners. It's 32 repeat homes for the same person. And I'll secretly tell you that number 33 and number 34 are being designed right now. Secret. And Paul always said, yeah, we couldn't get it right the first time, so they allowed us to do it again. Paul says the homeowners we build for will know them forever. That's just how it is. And that was the first time I really ever heard a builder talk like that. And I remember thinking, are we really going to know them forever? Yes, that's how it was. I'm so thankful that we got the opportunity to see Paul in his true element, which is sailing, as we've been talking about. He was just free. He was just free sailing. He just lit up and he wanted to share his passion. On a sailing trip a few years ago, Paul taught my wife and I how to sail in this little hoagie cat. We visited the North Sound, protected harbor near Burj Florida in the DVIs. Paul said, "Don't look now, brother. You're sailing." While he still had his hands on the sails. That was Paul. So Paul Allen Homes as a company turned 40 years old this year. And we've been campaigning this milestone all year long. I'm so thankful to have made a special 40-year tribute video with Paul in it. And we made several videos when I joined the team. And I always laughed because Paul was always just so nervous in front of the camera. Very, very nervous. But he always ended up nailing his part of the video. To the world, Paul had nerves of steel, so this was funny to me to see.
So we'll have these videos in our memories to remember him forever. You can view that tribute video and a lot more videos on the Paul Allen Homes YouTube channel. Paul Allen Homes YouTube channel. We love you, Paul, and we're so thankful to have known you, learned from you. You made us feel like we were better people in your presence. I am so grateful to be one of the few people that got to know him on his own terms and to be able to spend lots of personal time with him. His inner circle truly was small, but it had massive influence. Thank you, Paul, for choosing me, and thank you for loving me and my family. Godspeed, Brother Paul. You'll live in our hearts and memories forever. You're one of the greats, a legend, an iconic figure in the building community. A true goat. We love you. And Paul never really set out to win a popularity contest. He just was nice to everybody. And he just wanted to take care of and protect his family and close friends, and that's really all that mattered, and the rest just kind of came with it. And Paul was so excited in the last few years. This team that he built energized him. He had a renewed spirit. He wanted to work and meet customers and walk their lots. He would ask me, "Hey brother, has it been slow lately or is it just me?" I said, "No, Paul, it's not slow. We just signed 2 contracts last month. We're signing 2 this month, and we have 2 more on the hook right now." He said, I know. But I just want to talk to more people. I want to show them what we can do, what we can offer them. Paul had a happy heart. He just loved working with us. That's the Paul I remember. The Paul I spent day after day with, more than my own personal family, but to he was my family, my mentor, and my brother. I could stay up here all day, honestly, but the last thing is Paul's humor. Paul was one of the funniest people I knew. Not a whole lot of people knew that, but we always said that Paul had these Paulisms, these little sayings. And they were just quirky little sayings that just around the office caught on like wildfire, and our customers learned about them. There's tons. So here's one for you, Paul. Wherever you go, well, there you are. Well, there you are, Paul, and we'll see you on the other side, brother.
In a moment, we're going to hear from Mickey, Kevin, and Angel, but for now, let's reflect by the great James Tabor, Fire and Rain.
Walk down this home, and I'll go down this song. Just can't remember who this ended to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. That I see you again. So down upon you, Jesus. You're gonna help me take a stand. Just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen pain. find machines in pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fires, I've seen rain, seen Sundays that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend, but I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around. Thought I'd see you, thought I'd see you.
While Mickey and Kevin and Daniel make their ways, let me just say, you have not vacationed unless you listen to James Taylor on the back end of a sailboat in the BVI. Okay? It's amazing.
Hi Sylvia, family, friends. Maya Angelou said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. I'm Mickey Williams. I've known Paul and Sylvia for about a decade now, and Fran, my wife, and I have been blessed to have met and known Sylvia. We are additionally blessed to have built and designed and to live in a Paul Allen home. You might ask, why are we blessed? Well, contrary to Maya Angelou's generally accurate words, we are blessed because Paul was such an outstanding and special person. We remember what he said. We remember what he did, and we certainly remember how he made us feel. Paul, from the very first time we met him on a hill in Annapolis Springs, where we were initially looking at land, well before we ever decided that we were actually going to buy land or build. Another friend that's in the room, Paul Valesco, when we were looking at land and we asked Michael, well, if you were going to have someone build your house, who would you have build it? And Michael said, there's only one person, Paul Allen. So Paul came to that hill and gave us thoughts about what we might be able to do with it. We actually did not build on that hill, not because Paul said it wasn't a good hill, but other things just turned out that way. But we immediately connected and bonded with Paul in a mutually beneficial business endeavor to design and build what we refer to as our forever ever. I served for 30 years in the Army. As the time ended, my wife asked, are you done? I said, I could be done. She goes, you're done. Find me some land and build my house for me, my forever ever. Paul helped us do that. Through that journey and friendship, mutual appreciation and respect immediately began to grow. Paul was always able to give candid advice, such as, you only think you want a balcony. You don't need a balcony. We don't have a balcony. Paul also did what he said he was going to do. You've heard many here talk about his honesty. There wasn't a moment from the first time we met him that we didn't feel this was someone that we could just trust, that he was going to take care of us. Paul also made us feel so very special along with Sylvia. One of the things that Paul did as we were just getting to know each other and learning about his product, he took us to his home. And for us, that was like such an endearing opportunity. And there was Sylvia in the back. I can remember her walking around the kitchen just doing what she would be doing as Paul talked about the house they lived in that he had built for them and the quality and everything. I don't know that that was the genesis to us deciding, but it was just this awesome connection that he built with us immediately. Paul also trusted my unique skills and experiences and honored me on several occasions by asking for my thoughts. On one such occasion, when they were planning a boating trip that was going to be traveling through some real pirates areas, Paul reached out to me and said, "Mickey, what do you think?" And I said, "What are you thinking about?" I know you like pirates, but I don't think you want to meet pirates. I don't know if they ever took that trip, but I was honored that he asked for my opinion, given what I did and still do. While we will hold onto these memories of what he did, said, and how he made us feel, they are blessings. We will also add our deep sadness to the fact that he has left us, to the sadness that his family has and that we all have. That this city, this world has lost someone as special as him. You can't give your life more time, so give the time you have more life. Don't just exist, but live. Paul lived and lives on in our cherished memories of him. And I have to tell my friend, this old soldier, to a sailor, farewell, fair winds and following seas, my friend. Thank you.
Okay.
And I feel honored that I was asked to say a few words. Thank you, Sylvia. Paul meant a lot to me. Some of you know me, some of you don't. That doesn't really matter. I've known Paul and Sylvia for going on 10 years now. We're both in the real estate world, and I imagine a lot of folks in the market. Anybody who knows anything about this industry understands that most of the professional relationships are surface level at best. Everybody says the right things. It's really about what you can do to get paid and help your career out, help the other career out, and then you move on down the road. It's not good or bad, it's just what it is. I met and worked with a lot of home builders through my career, and one time I had a client that was out in Berlin looking to build their forever home, and came across Paul on the sign and said I had heard about him, I heard good things about him, so we decided to sit and meet with him. It was a great meeting. We got pretty far down the road in the design stage, and unfortunately that deal didn't end up working out because due to some poor decisions by my client, he relocated elsewhere for 3 to 5 years. And he got out in about a year and a half. He's not here yet. Typically when a deal falls apart, everybody goes their separate ways, and I'm bumping each other again down the road. This was different. After that, Paul called and said, "Hey, we really want to get to know you." And so again, Paul asked my wife and I to go out to dinner, and we went to Sado's, and we literally drank some wine, had some good food, and we spoke very little, if any, about business. It was just about getting to know us. He had to tell us about him, and his adventures and what he loved doing, and really just getting to know me and my family. Anybody who's dealt with Paul personally or professionally knows that he loved to learn more about you. Professional conversations commonly veered off the tracks and ended up focused on family or travel or wine. God forbid you mentioned that you even seen a boat. You were there for at least an hour. You know, Paul built homes. He was damn good at it. And as Glenn said, he wasn't a homeowner. He built relationships. Every time he and I spoke, these were with friends, not business associates. I know I'm not the only one in the room that felt that way. He knew about my family, he knew about my homies, and he made sure I knew about his. We spoke frequently, but again, he was a friend, not a business associate. Sylvia, your name came up every time somehow. We didn't even have to be talking about you. He was madly in love with you. There's not a person in this room who knew him who didn't know. He spoke of both of his daughters frequently, his grandkids. He was excited to be building a home at the lake next to you guys to spend more time with you. We all knew about it. We did not have to ask. We also knew how proud he was not only the company he built, but the people that he built with him. Through the years, he put together an amazing team, and he trusted them. And most companies have employees, Paul does not. Paul had family. An incredibly talented one. And there's not a doubt in my mind that Paul Allen Homes is going to continue to thrive under the leadership of Keith and Jeff and the rest of the team. Paul can rest easy knowing that his legacy will be carried on in a way that will make him proud. So I think the best way to honor Paul's life and his legacy is to slow down a little and truly get to know the people that you interact with. Look at every interaction as a blessing, a way to meet somebody new. Someone whose life could change with just one kind word from you, or someone who can change yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Angel Ramirez, and I am blessed to be here today to honor the life of a friend and a mentor. Paul was creative, enthusiastic, ethical, innovative, trustworthy, smart, honorable, good man. Our team, NT Group, worked close to Paul and his wonderful team at Paul Allen Custom Homes. As their tile and custom stone contractors. We will miss him, and he will always be present in our lives. Paul taught me with his example that it is possible in the construction industry to be kind, polite, honest, and treat everyone with respect. That was a big part of his success. In the many years of working together, I never saw Paul lose his calm. If something went wrong or you didn't agree, he would kindly give you an advice of how to do it better. Paul's values and integrity are untouchable. I remember we bid a huge job for him. And after a while, I heard he rejected the job. I couldn't understand why. One day, having lunch with him, he said to me, Angel, I rejected that job to protect my team and our contractors. Yes, it was going to be a very profitable one. It was a big one. But sometimes it's better to say no and have some peace. Jesus tells us in the Gospel of John 14, verses 1-3, let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have not told you that I go to prepare a home for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and take you myself, that where I am, you may also be. Jesus is telling his disciples, and each and every one of us here today, that we're not alone. Not to be troubled, not to be anxious of his departure. He encourages us to have faith in God emphasize that we are not alone. I believe God needed a good home builder in heaven to help you build your forever home. God is reminding us today that Paul's earthly departure is not the end. It's the beginning for the ones who believe in eternal life. We all have a purpose in life, and Paul completed his purpose. He now leaves his legacy behind to his wife Sylvia, to his daughters Michelle and Isabel, son-in-laws John and Coy, grandchildren Kira, Blake, and Jude, and his amazing team of Bond homes. May God bless each and every one of you here today, and may He give you the strength to continue honoring Paul each and every day with your lives. God bless you.
Thank you, Angel. I'm going to use that the next time I preach on John 14:1. I just want you to know. I'm going to quote it. So we're going to hear a song, and then we're going to hear from 3 others from family. And so it will be closing our time together. But the song is Unchanted Melody by the Righteous Brothers. So we're going to hear now from Bobby Barrera,
Kira and Blake Snyder, and then Corey.
As every one of the family and friends that come before me, I too was honored to be asked to say a few words. I was also surprised because I didn't know that Paul wanted to be associated with a criminal defense lawyer. It wasn't part of his industry, but I was very jealous of the man. His life, his accomplishments, his friends, everything about Paul, I wanted to be more part of. And I hate many of you who got to spend more time with him than I did. I'm going to take off a little bit on what Pat said about the letter C. What comes to mind is the word consummate. Paul was the consummate everything. Consummate father, consummate family man, consummate businessman, consummate friend. A person who, as everyone has said, you wanted to be around Paul. And while I can't quote the Bible or Maya Angelou, there's some unknown comic who said, don't ever pass by a moment to make someone smile or make someone laugh. And that was Paul. His words, his thoughts, everything he engaged in with people was to make them happy, to make them smile. All of Paul's engagements with me and my family are always very memorable. Another word that comes to mind with the letter C is child, but in a positive way, in the way that children learn and wonder about life, and the wonderment they get in everything. That picture, I guess, was the perfect timing. Thank you. Appreciate that. And to look at that face of Paul was the face and the smile and the cherubness that he had all through life. Whether it was toasting a glass of wine, talking about building, talking about life, and that sunset that does last forever. And Paul had a way to make all of us feel that we were his special friend. I know that God took him from us way, way too early, and I don't know why, and we don't know why. But you talk about going out on top. Paul went out on top. Paul went out after a full, beautiful life with a wonderful family, the love that many people will never enjoy from family and friends, from his accomplishments. And many of you correct, he didn't build houses. He built homes for families, he built dreams, and he did it in a way that is untouched and unmatched by any other person that I have ever known. I'm a lawyer by trade. That fellow who did 3 to 5 was not my client. So. But I will tell you that I've talked to my son about what you want to do when you grow up. And I told him, I want you to go work with Paul Allen. I want you to be able to look back at the end of the day and see the lives that you have touched and the dreams that you have made. And when you walk away from the curb, you look back and you say, I have created this with the help of my family and my friends and my staff. And we have created someone's dream where they will live forever, hopefully happy. And my son is now going to attend A&M and looking at a degree in construction science. And I am saddened by the fact that he will no longer get to work with Paul, but that I can share with him the reasons that Paul was such an influence on my life and the joy that he brought me in knowing that every time I said, Paul, let's get together, Paul, let's go have dinner, Paul, let's go have lunch. And all the rest of you took all this time away from me. But as I look at all of these beautiful pictures, I ask one question. When did he work? I mean, really. But you can also see that these pictures are filled with beautiful family, and they're all smiling, they're all happy, they're all enjoying the patriarch of not only that industry, not only the people whose lives he touched and worked, not for him, but with him, of his beautiful wife, and daughters and sons and son-in-laws, grandchildren. And I know that many of you have many stories about Paul. I have one that I would like to share with you at dinner at my home with my wife, Karen. We invited Paul, Sylvia, a couple of other people who were non-industry related, sort of an eclectic group. And I don't know how we got on being healthy, or eating healthy, or doing exercises, because I do none of those. But it got down to a friend of mine who was quite muscular and healthy and worked out quite often, got into a bit of a debate, not with Paul, but with Sylvia. And somehow it centered on yoga. And before I knew it, my friend was challenging Sylvia to a yoga dance-off or a workout-off, I'm not sure what we would call it. And I was looking at Paul, and Paul was looking at me, and I'm looking at my buddy, and I'm going, you're about to get your ass kicked. But it was that type of conversation that we enjoyed with Paul and Sylvia. And all of you know so much better than I. I've known him for 20 plus years. I built my home, but he was more than my right-hand man. He was my mentor, and I asked him all the questions that people who would venture in things like that, building a home. So I didn't want to pour my slab before I put in my plumbing. And I asked Paul for help, and he was there without question, anytime, every need that I had. So I find that as I get older, weddings and funerals are times that we get to share tears of joy in the relationship of the people who we honor coming together and starting a life. Tears of sadness, coming together to celebrate the life of a person that we love, who we're there to honor. And that person is Paul. And I hope that I continue to see Paul Allen signs coming up, going up, a new home by Paul Allen. I know he was like the Thomas Henry of Teuton-Borg Road. I couldn't throw a rock without hitting a Paul Allen sign. And it was wonderful. He's built many homes right across from the street from my home. And I too have recommended him to everyone that I've ever known who talked about building a home. So I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you all. Thank you so much for including me in this wonderful conversation about a beautiful man. I haven't heard the word gentle yet in the description of Paul, but he was, in my mind, a gentle person with a pure heart, full of love. And he expressed that with everyone he came into contact with. Thank you very much.
As Kira and Blake make their way up here, let me just say thank you, sir, for sharing. But have you gathered the implied that's been just said? If you live right, do right, you're honest, always do the right thing, you don't need a criminal defense attorney.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Kira, and this is my little sister Blake. And I'd like to say a few things about my grandfather, who I never thought I would be talking about in a past tense, ever. But I know he would be proud of me. nothing you could say right now would explain how it's been to lose our best friend. But I just feel so insanely lucky and proud to have been so close to the most extraordinary man that I've ever met in my life. He taught me how to be the girl who takes the road less traveled, and I hope that I can show that throughout my life. He taught me to take in every moment like it's your last, just as I'm sure he did for a lot of you guys here. I wish I could just thank him for being my buddy throughout all these years and teaching me all there was to know about this crazy life and how to navigate it. I hope that I can carry it through my years and leave a legacy just as he did. One of my favorite memories that I had with him was recent. It was whenever he took my family and I out sailing, and we went to the British Virgin Islands. And we went to Bidder's End, and he took us to a restaurant that was on an island. You had to take a dinghy to get out there. And in the back of this restaurant was the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. And he grabbed my hand, and he took my dad and my sister and I, and he pulled us to the back of this restaurant, and it was just, you'll see it up here at some point, but it was just green landscape, and all you could see was just open ocean and mountains, and palm trees with hammocks all swinging down them. And he sat me down in this hammock, and he said, "Kira, this is where I want to go before I die." And I'm glad that I could have been there before he did. He told me that it was his favorite place in all of the seas, and he told me that he just wanted to be there forever, and I'm going to make it my goal in life to go back there, to be with him one last time, because I know that I'll find him there. Sorry, this is so sad. This was definitely over the years, there's just been so many beautiful things that he's shown me, but this is the best. One of the most special things about him was what we call his Paulisms. And there were little phrases that he would love to throw at us, whether it was to make us laugh, or maybe if it was just to be thought-provoking, you never knew. A fair warning that some of these won't make any sense at all, but to a special some of you, you'll know exactly what they mean. If so, feel free to laugh along with me. You ready? Okay. Oh, you can just grab it. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Wherever you go, there you are. How do it do?
How do it know?
How do it know?
Yes.
Want to roll? Get on the floor. Keep your own counsel. I'm glad you got to see me. Steady as she goes. You gotta kiss a lot of frogs. It doesn't have to make sense. Take more than you need because you might not get as much as you want. How did you sleep? I don't know, I was asleep. You go to school to learn how to learn. I can't remember what I've forgotten. He called those strike kids humbugs, Squeaky, or Little Buddy. Hardly ever buy everything. Ceiling heals everything. Stuck in ongoing traffic, they keep making it there. Leave, follow, or get the heck out of the way. Hey, it's for horses. Aren't you glad you're not a cow? You are a cow. Finding the frog's hair split 3 ways. We're going to make firm decisions, but remain flexible. After making a super decent and honorable decision, this will help you sleep at night. I'm glad I'm the key of my household, but Sylvia is the neck.
He would always say, F them and F them all. Control your world. He would say, just keep going, baby. And then when he was having conversations, he would always say, I appreciate that, but, or he would hit us with an absolutely not. I don't know what I don't know. That view will make people pee down their legs when he was excited about a new lot. It takes a weirdo to do well in this business. This is my favorite. I've got 3 friends, and 2 of them don't like me, and the other moved away. You're required to tell 1 lie and perform 1 miracle per day, but you can't lie about your miracle. We are house nerds. He would say, changing channels when he was done with the conversation. You just change channels. And then he would say, this is the best, whatever. He would have the best of, like the Cece's chicken that he's ever had in his whole life. It'd always be that. He would say, drag our face across asphalt. He would say, we have the biggest lips in town. And he would say, I'd rather eat rat poison a lot. He would say brain damage. I don't mean to be weird, of course. What we do is not for sissies, and you have to be a little weird to do what we do. To those that are like us, and damn the rest. And finally, every single time we would pass a cemetery, he would always say, the people are dying to go there. And I just want to thank him for being the best grandfather in the world and giving us the love that nobody else could ever give us. Thank you.
Didn't I tell you grandkids are great? Come on, boy.
I was gonna say, I've read some, the inmates and good ones. My name is Coy. All of our wonderful speakers today have done such a fabulous job highlighting the amazing life and legacy that Paul left. But I wanted to sum it all up today by sharing with you how Paul has been so many different things to me throughout my adult life and helped me make me the man that I am today. First, as people know, Paul was my father-in-law. He was an icon in home building. He was always known for his integrity, his honesty, his kind heart, and being a truly great human. Soon after his daughter Michelle and I married, he became my business partner in Paul Outlet Homes. He helped me understand things about home building that I had no idea. I came in as a home builder, but when I went in to meet Paul and join his organization, I didn't know what I didn't know, which was great. But above all, he was my trusted friend at that point, which is kind of unusual because, of course, I was a son-in-law. He was supposed to be nice to me, like me, but he actually wanted me around to talk to and be friends with and share ideas with and do the things that we love to do together, which was so important for our whole family. We spent every night dinner together. We lived down the street from each other, and it was truly a great time in our lives. But he inspired me to go out on my own and create my own business and chart my own course, which I really appreciate because I saw an opportunity, and we all realized that we can still be together without always having to be together. And we work together to this day, just in different sides of the business. He was my captain. the many, many times we went to sea. And one of my smartest, most valuable mentors. He taught me that it was great that I knew how to do everything. But it was even smarter to let other people do what they were experts at. And for me to focus my time and energy on the bigger picture and achieving my own goals instead of just trying to work in my business all the time. He was a fantastic father to my wife and Isabel. All the way to the very end. He was always there whenever they needed him. He was an amazing grandfather to my kids. He took them on these once-in-a-lifetime journeys and bestowed this grandfatherly wisdom in his very, very unique and special way all the time, to the point to where they came up and could give policies, which I think is so unique because there's all these special things they remember about him. And again, in addition to all these things, he was my trusted friend. But it wasn't because he had to be. It was because he really, truly loved me. I learned so much from him. In all his lessons, his words ring in my mind daily as I travel through this journey of life. He'd achieved his goals. He was ready to comfortably enjoy the fruits of this beautiful life he worked so hard to build. But suddenly, unexpectedly, tragically, he was ripped away from us, leaving such a gaping hole in all of us. And it leaves me wondering why. And the answer is, there is no answer. There's no way to explain it. There's no reason to wonder what we could have done differently. We did it all. We lived it all. The one thing we can do, though, we can remember that this life isn't our own. We are only here for a short time. We have to savor every minute and make sure we never miss an opportunity to tell those close to us that we love them. And make sure that they understand. Right now, I can see Paul at the helm of a beautiful 52-foot Swan with a full headsail on a downwind reach, headed off into the sunset. With a smile on his face, a cold beer in his hand, and just smiling as big as he can be. Very well, my captain.
Thank you, Coy. Today you've heard a lot of different comments, a lot about professionalism and relationships and people and friends and all of that. And I want to leave you just with one biblical comment. Jesus was asked the question, which is the greatest commandment? You probably remember the story if you've ever heard any Bible teaching at all. And his answer was really simple. He said, the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like the first, love your neighbor as yourself. You know, I think it's very interesting that Jesus took the entire Bible, Old and New Testament alike, and summed it up in two simple statements. Love God, love people. What I've heard today is that Paul had a tremendous appreciation for God's creation. And he had a tremendous appreciation for the people around him. He came to understand that it wasn't about the business, it was about the people. Wow, if we could all learn that lesson. And if each and every one of us could carry out of here the legacy of that alone, the significance of relationships, we would be different people. And Paul's legacy, homes or not, we'll live on. Let me pray with you. Lord, we thank you today for our time here. We thank you for all the comments that have been made. For every relationship that's here today, whether close or not quite as close, we know that everyone here is family. We thank you for Paul Allen. We thank you for his vision, his entrepreneurial spirit, his desire to love people, to treat people well, to do the right thing. Thank you for the fact that he instilled that into his family, his children, son-in-laws, and grandchildren. Thank you for the example that he gave them and all of us of how to love your marriage partner really, really well. And I pray that we would carry these things out with us as we go. Thank you again for the privilege of allowing me to be here today, to leave this endeavor. In your name we pray. Amen. So it wouldn't be a San Antonio funeral, a San Antonio event, if we didn't have a little mariachis, right? But I'm going to ask a request of you. If you would just remain seated as the mariachis play, we're going to let the family be dismissed. And then afterwards, once they're gone, they're going to go to the graveside with me, and we're going to do that thing there, and you're going to be welcome to a reception. We're ready for mariachis.
letters, please stand and follow me. And that will be on this side.
Just remain seated for just a moment, please. So there is a reception to follow. I want to encourage you to stick around for the reception. What's an afternoon among friends, right? So I want to share that with you. You'll be able to go right through these doors and immediately to the back, and that reception will be starting just briefly. At the reception, of course, the family will be back here shortly too.